And I remember Lou. Who was Lou?
Lou was
a cousin or something?
No, Lou was his common-law wife's brother.
So he was the brother out of law.
Right, he was an outlaw.
Well, the curious thing with Lou was usually, you know, collecting the dough, selling the tickets there at the door. And it was always strange when you got paid after a gig. And those gigs were long gigs, you know. You'd play from like Tuesday through Sunday, like 3 sets a night. It was insane. And then when the pay came, it was like, didn't I draw more people than this? So there was always the question of, what was Lou's relationship to arithmetic?
Louie Bass, as far as I know, was Helen's brother. Now, Helen was not my grandmother, as you know.
No.
I told you that.
No. I knew that.
And they never got married, Mike and Helen.
Right.
Tell me about Louie Bass. I don't know much about Louie Bass.
Louie Bass was, oh, I don't know how to describe him. You know, he was known to try to put one over on people, like sell them bootleg albums that weren't really bootleg albums, stuff like that, you know. So he was good for that.
Louie would sit by the door and count the money over and over and over again. That's what I remember most about Louie. He counted the money. It was as though he was rehearsing. Strange man, Louie.
Louie Bass. The doorman.
Oh, the doorman, Louie. Oh, the Lou. You gotta have the Lou. Well, that was another famous Mike quote. When you went to get paid, you were supposed to get paid half the door. But in fact, he took the expenses, 2 expenses off the door. One was the Village Voice ad, which the headliner paid for. It came out of your money, period. It came off the top. And then the other thing he'd say, and you got to the Lou, and he would take 80 bucks to pay Louie 40 bucks a night to sit at the door. Louie, I think, was his brother-in-law. I presume was his brother-in-law. And Louie had no interest in the music whatsoever, didn't like any of us, was this, you know, irascible guy who would sit at the door and just keep people out if they didn't pay to get in. And people would walk up to the door and say, who's playing tonight? And he'd say, can't you read? You know, he wouldn't like even know who was playing. He wouldn't, not only wouldn't say, but he wouldn't even know. And people would say, is the show good? And he'd go, how the hell do I know? You know, you don't think I listen to it, do you? He'd just be sitting there reading a magazine when people walked up to pay. So Mike would always say, you got to the ad, and you got to the Lou, oh, and you got to the tax. He would take the sales tax for the door off the top, and then whatever that was, you would end half of the rest of it. You would end up with.
And here's half of Louie Bass.
Half of Louie Bass. Which half? The top or the bottom?